This conference will now be recorded.
Progress. All right. The time being 4:46 p.m., I'd like to call the meeting of April 28th, 2021 to order. Before we get started, if you are joining us virtually, please mute your microphone during the meeting unless you want to speak. Otherwise, background noise will interfere with the meeting. Because space is limited due to social distancing requirements, we are providing access to the meeting via telephone and the GoToMeeting platform. Members of the public wishing to attend this meeting via phone may call the following conference call number at 1-866-899-4679, access code 817-026-717. Members of the public wishing to use the GoToMeeting platform may access the meeting remotely using your smartphone, tablet, or computer at global.gotomeet.me/town-of-Tilton/Selectmen. This information can also be found on our website at tiltonnh.org under meeting schedules and agendas, Board of Selectmen. We have selectmen who will be participating via the virtual platform.
Excuse me, I'm not sure that we do. I haven't heard from John.
Okay,
So I don't think that's necessary.
all right. So let's see. After each discussion, I will ask if there's anyone from the public who has any questions. Where's oh, there we go. Like we jumped to 7:30. All right. All right. First on the agenda, well, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll bring the minutes of April 15th to the floor. And April 22nd.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the minutes of the April 15th as written.
Jessamine, second.
All right. So the motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. We'll bring the minutes of April 22nd to the floor for discussion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Justman.
I'd make a motion to accept the minutes of April 22nd, 2021 as written.
Ruggles, second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, vote by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. I'm not saying nay, I'm just saying opposed, nay. All right. Motion passes. Moving right along. Up next, Land Use Coordinator Leanne Moynihan. Yeah. We'd love to have you in the hot seat tonight.
Right there.
Just make sure you turn the button green. So you're recorded. Thank you.
Does anyone need a copy of my
I
report?
would love one if you
I'd
have
love
it.
one too.
A little wet, but
That means they're fresh off the press. Remember the mimeograph things?
I had sent them. Did everyone
Yeah.
get? Okay.
I meant to print
Yeah, I
it out,
love
but
that
I
smell.
didn't.
Probably,
You get the wet one
probably
on top.
explains a lot of
That's fine.
things today.
Yeah.
I guess I'll give everybody one. How
Yeah.
about that? How about that?
We all meant to print it, we all forgot to print it.
No, I didn't need to.
Oh, I did. I got caught watching the news this morning.
Been working.
Yeah, keep hanging up.
Oh, no, this is nice.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you.
Oops.
Yeah. He forgot. Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so thank you. I don't think I've been back here for a few months, so based on the last report I gave. So this report is kind of I started with the last year comparison. So since I've seen you for the hiring, Chuck has started working for the town. He's 12 hours, as you remember. He's been with us since the beginning of April, so just about a month. He's doing great. He's doing his 12 hours, pretty much caught up by now. So that's going really well. I listed the planning board members before my planning board report, just so you see that we have 3 vacant positions. It's actually becoming somewhat of an issue at our planning board meetings because we really only have 4 full members and the selectman rep right now. So it's a little challenging if one person doesn't attend or 2, we're out of quorum. So we only had 4 people last night. So it just makes it a little harder. So if anyone knows of anyone who's interested, I did have a couple people I've talked to, but no one's stepped forward yet. So we are busy. As you can see, January to April of 2021, we've had 6 cases already, and we only had 6 cases all last year. So first quarter, first 4 months, we're already at the same level that we were all of 2020. I did list some of the cases that we've reviewed this year. Those that are approved at MB Tractor and 100 Autumn Drive. I didn't update this from last night, but Sailview was approved last night as well to do their like kind of picnic area over between the Winnie Market and the Lobster Connection. El Paso has to go to zoning board, as well as Kettlehead has to go to zoning board, and American Materials is the old Tilton landscaping, and they got approved to do a landscaping business over there seasonally. That's 256 Laconia Road. So that was last night. Zoning board, we do have a full board, which is really nice. We have 2 new members, Brian Pease and Ann Miranda. As you know, you appointed recently. So we have a full board with Matt Gilman as chair. So I do have 3 vacant alternates. Be nice to get a couple of those filled if anyone is interested in zoning. Sometimes people feel zoning's a little easier. It's a little lighter lifting on that board with following the regs, and they only meet once a month. So again, if you know of anyone, have them call me. I'm happy to speak with them about that. Zoning board's busy as well. We have 6 cases there as well already in the first January to April. They've all been approved with the exception of one that withdrew, which was 24 Silver Lake. 24 Silver Lake is a little tiny property that's getting passed around because no one can seem to build on it, but everyone keeps selling it to somebody else who then tries to build on it, and then they sell it for a little more money to somebody else, and they come in and try and build on it. So we're going on the 3rd sale of the same little tiny property that nobody can build on. So we'll see how long before somebody catches on to the theme on that piece of property. We do have, I gave a report on building permits, which are also up substantially. I do have the 2019 total and the 2020 total, which are around a little over 200. We're already at 89 permits at the end of April. and we're at almost $10,000 in revenue from that. So we're up $4,000 from this time last year. Last year we only had 41 permits at this time, so we're busy, and we continue to be really busy in the department. If you want to refer, I put iWorks reports because I know the selectmen were interested in whether we're utilizing that iWorks system and whether we're doing reports. So I attached the report that you can see. That's where I pull those numbers of 89 and 9,950, which are the end of the report. It's not, the most informative system and easiest to run reports on, but you can get information, but you got to kind of generate these different reports, and they don't always come out exactly as you like, but you can get gross numbers. And it does reconcile things for you if you want to look at what's been reconciled. It will break down, like on here, it breaks it down by building, electrical, plumbing, sign permits. So you can kind of see where the most permits are and the dollars. Next is inspections. We've started a little bit of a different system with the new inspector. iWorks does have the potential to be used to put inspections in, but I hesitate to start using the system for that and putting data in if we're not going to continue the iWorks system long term. So I don't know what will happen to the data in it if we decide. I know that Tim's thinking about writing his own permit system, and so they don't have to pay for this anymore. So to start putting data in that won't be retrieved for the new system. What we're doing right now is because Chuck, the new inspector, writes up all his inspection reports individually. We have a copy of every inspection when we're attaching those to the building permit. So we have a file. You pull a permit, you see all the inspections, and then the CO, you have the CO attached as well. So it is a quote old-fashioned paper system, but at least it's a system, and we have all the records for those inspections. I did attach, because he works in 3 towns, he likes to use a calendar system, which is actually working out really well for us. So I did just print the calendar. It's on the back of the last iWorks page, and it shows all his inspections and what time he works, obviously Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. He's averaging around 12 to 14 inspections a week, so that's pretty good. He does visit all the sites for inspection as well. He's been visiting sites prior to issuing building permits, so he makes sure they meet the setback before he issues the permit, which is kind of nice. So that's going really well. Part of our other department is assessing, and I just wanted to show that we did 76 property changes already, January to April, and those changes and deeds are done by my department. That's done by Janice. She inputs all those deeds and changes, and then when Avatar comes in, they review them for qualified sales. And that goes into the equalization ratio, which I don't know if you saw the memo from DRA, and everyone understands what the equalization ratio is. If you don't, I'm happy to explain it. It's just how far we are from market value. So the state tracks that for us based on our sales. And then every year they give us our ratio, and our ratio means we're at 94% of the market value. I'm kind of surprised. I think it'd be much lower than that. It seems like the sales are much higher than that, but that's what they came back with in 2020. If we get below 80, they usually require you to do another revaluation. So it's important to kind of keep that market value up. I did list, I've been doing a lot of code enforcement and complaints. So this is just for the month of April, not since January. These are all the letters and site visits and complaints that I fielded in April. And it shows which ones are open and which ones are closed. I didn't give a lot of detail of them, but they're ongoing investigations or they've been resolved. So these are as a result of complaints or something I've seen when I've been out in town or the planning board has directed me to go check on.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
In the complaints,
Microphone on?
Yep.
Okay, good.
because I'm not on top of it, because I
You can't see it very well.
see it very well. Sorry. I'm just a little bit concerned with the complaints, and I don't mean I'm not concerned with getting the complaints. Do you, in the past, we've had anonymous complaints, and do we know where the complaints are coming from?
Yes.
And so we're keeping track of,
Well, there's
not
files on
that
all
I
these.
want to know where they are. I have,
These,
not-
this is just the report. Yeah, I have a file on all the complaints.
I don't want
Yep.
to know that, but I just want to make sure that our office is keeping track of that.
Yep.
Okay.
Some of them come by email, some come by phone, but I know everyone has identified themselves, or DES
DES, okay.
has notified me.
Yep.
Or there are butters, or everything is a little
Residents
bit
or-
different
Yep,
case.
okay.
Or a planning board has asked to check something from a site plan. The Aroma Joe's, for example, came from Eric from the Selectmen, right? The Aroma Joe's traffic issue.
The,
So, yeah, I know where they all come from if anyone wants to know, and it is in a file. So, any other questions on the complaints or follow up?
is that something that you keep in iWorks as well?
No,
This
iWorks is just
you-
a permit.
Just the permitting process.
There's, I have a paper file, and then I have an electronic file by location, and then I have all the letters on file.
And
emails.
so the next report you get to us, some of these opens will be closed, and you'll let us know whether they're closed or
Hopefully,
not.
yeah.
This is the
And I
most
can take-
comprehensive report that we've gotten from your office in
Ever.
years, ever. So it's amazing.
I will
Thank
take
you.
the closed ones off though, so it doesn't become, right? You're okay with that? Anything's closed, I show it to you now, and then I won't show
Well,
it
now
again.
that they're closed,
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So requests for information, we do get a lot of those. I just put the March and April requests, and those can just be very time consuming. These right to know requests where they want all the files, all the planning records, all the zoning records, all the building permits. And as you can see, one of them is Tanger Outlet, which is,
Yeah.
very comprehensive as a package. So, but that just shows they were right to know requests and that we responded to them either in writing or verbally. In April, I did put down education. The question had come up from one of the selectmen that whether I am willing to get education, and didn't know what my education background was. So I included on this report. I probably won't include it again unless you want me to keep putting down any training that I get. These are just workshops. Well, one workshop I went to already in March. The other two are upcoming in May. One is a hard road to travel, and then the planning and zoning conference from the Office of Strategic Initiatives is coming up in May. I also put on there for further education, there is a Masters of Community Development, which UNH offers. I would be not only willing but enthusiastic to take that course if that's something that the selectmen would support. It is a 14-month master's degree in community development. Like I said, I have my undergraduate degree, so this would be a master's. The deadline for the application is July 15th, and it would start in the fall for 14 months. And that's the tuition for in-state is $28,000.
And it's 14, how much?
14 months.
How much of that time is involved in that 14 months?
I believe it's all online.
All online evenings?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how much would it affect your time at work?
I don't think it would affect my time at work.
Affect anything? It would be all on your own time.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't looked at the detailed courses and the times, but they're all online. So I believe they said they're staying online with this course. It's offered by, I think I attached a little bit of the information on the program in the back here, the
I read
tuition,
that.
and then there wasn't a lot on print out too much, but it just gives a little bit of an overview of what the course, not the courses, but what the program entails, if you want to take a look at that later.
Got it.
And lastly is I am on the Lakes Region Planning Commission, as you know, as I was appointed by you. So I am a commissioner. They meet once a month, and I just put down the topics that were covered by the Lakes Regional Planning in March and April. So I attended the two commissioners meetings. The first one, the end of March, was on floodplain management. And the second one was Digit Taylor, and that was on the LCHIP program. That was this week. I'm also on the Transportation Advisory Committee with Lakes Regional Planning, and I just listed what was done at those meetings. They reviewed the TAP proposals from the other towns. We had to review those and grade them and score them. And then we had Mark McConkey from DOT that did transportation funding, and Joe Kenny came in and talked about transportation issues and funding in the state in February.
So
And that is my report.
can I interrupt really quickly? Also, for the board's information, Leanne and I will be working with Lakes Region Planning Commission to update the Caleb Hill project for the 10-year highway plan. And we've already reached out to Lakes Region. That will probably start sometime in July. Because if you recall, that was the feedback we got from the DOT that plan needed to be updated.
And we're also doing the charrette. I'm doing this working with Jeannie on the charrette.
Is there any overflow in the TAC advisory committee, overflow discussions on transportation with the elderly transportation from the RCC? Is there any overflow conversation going on?
I have not heard any. We have a senior transportation, right?
We do, and there's often valuable information and funding and so on and so forth. And Jane is our representative that goes to the RCC. I think, Joe, you used to go there a lot.
I used to go.
I used to go too, but I can't make the meetings. But Jane goes and represents us. Usually Community Action is a big part of that as well. But it's
Yeah, Cap.
sometimes early on when we used to attend when the selectmen used to attend the TAC meetings, there was a lot of overflow from RCC and TAC on transportation. And I didn't know if that continued or not, or if they separated it altogether. It sounds like they
Oh,
separated
yeah, I haven't
it.
heard anything.
This is great. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Very nice report.
My only, and I hate to call it a suggestion, but based on what I heard about the complaints code enforcement, if you're going to keep the open ones on there, is there a way to put the date or the month
Oh,
and the
yeah,
year that it
sure.
was open so that we can see how old something is?
Yeah, sure,
versus
because this
if
was the
it's new?
first month. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can leave the April and maybe I'll start and then I'll start this one down.
And I don't know, maybe it's just another column that you put like, 421 something, just so we know.
Yeah, or I'll do the May. I'll start with May and take
Yeah.
these off. You'll see what's left for April or something.
It's
like that.
very, very nice
It is.
report.
Thank you.
Excellent report, Leanne.
Thank you.
I think
trying-
perhaps maybe the board can talk later about the education portion of it.
And I just wanted to mention to the selectmen, I mentioned it at staff this morning. I just wanted to let the selectmen know that Kevin Duval was a great help too during our interim without a building inspector, that he did help me a great deal and was able to do some inspections and kept us moving. And I just wanted to mention that land use was really appreciative of his time and his willingness to go out there and, stretch a little beyond maybe what he normally does and keep those contractors working. So I thank him for that.
Thank you. Anything else for Leanne?
Oh. Do you mind?
No?
Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Good.
And I
Oh.
do have something.
Sure, Joe.
Last night I was disturbed. I was in the audience at the planning board and we were having audio difficulties. Now, my understanding of the governor's executive orders was, and it was written right down somewhere, that if people couldn't take part in the meeting, that the meeting would be rescheduled at a later time. Is that still in effect?
I would need to check on that, Joe. I think you're correct, but based on, because I was on the call myself, and it seemed to be that people who were out there like I was, they were participating in the meeting. I know it was it was garbled, it was difficult. You had to really pay close attention, but I think typically it's if the whole system shuts down. And so I didn't hear anyone say we absolutely can't and we should end the meeting. And if that was something that somebody wanted to do, they could have done that.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that.
Yep.
How many people were online?
There was one gentleman on the Winnisquam Market expansion thing, or right beside there, and then there was Christine Demginski was participating remotely, and they both at various times were talking about they couldn't hear. Now, one of the things was the only audio apparently last night was that ball mic. Is that correct?
No,
So I can speak to that though. So I can tell you what happened with that. So we had the similar issue at zoning the week before where we had just the regular setup with all the mics and nobody could hear and everybody had feedback and
echo.
almost, yeah, echo. Well, and Jeannie, you were on that
Yeah.
meeting as well. And the same type of thing happened. People started saying, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I'm getting feedback. So we played with the system. We who don't know the system, Janice, myself, I mean, I don't know how these systems work. Started playing with the mics and through trial and error, it seemed like when we had that one mic that you're talking about with the ball that usually sits in the back for the public to speak to when you have public there. When we had that on and everything else off, somebody, I don't know if it was, I think Jeannie might have called me or somebody called me during the zoning board meeting and said, oh my God, it's perfect. We can hear everything really well. So we continued with the zoning board meeting and it was, I guess, crystal clear. And everyone said, oh, everyone hears great. So we said, well, I guess that's a solution. Just have the one mic in the middle of the table and everybody could be heard, even when they were speaking as a presenter or we were speaking and we watched the video after and everything was clear. Now that was last Tuesday. Now nothing's been done since last Tuesday. So we said, well, we're just going to use the same system this Tuesday. So don't touch anything. And you saw what happened. So I don't have any explanation for why it worked perfectly last Tuesday. And then this system, that's why we said, let's just leave the one mic. And that's why people are like, we'll try this. And we're like, well, that's.
And when Mr. Pearson gets back from his hiatus vacation, could you put that on his list of things to look at?
Absolutely. And in fact, I think he was contacted last week and he was willing to come in, but they felt like they had it solved and.
Right, because the zoning we figured it out at zoning, but who knows how these systems work. So.
I think it's really important because it's illegal. Planning is legal and zoning. I mean, these are two important boards. We need to
Right.
have the public input and they need to be able to be heard.
Well, one of the things, just so you know, we're looking at, because you remember that we're going to be getting that ARP funds, the 350,000, is possibly using some of that for technology upstairs.
Yeah.
At town hall. So then you'll have the same quality that you have here.
Good solution.
John?
Yeah, actually, there were some problems on and off, but, Leanne caught it and we actually reread some things and repeated things and continually asked people in the audience if they had any questions, and there was some blank moments and waiting for somebody to repeat their stuff. So it was a little problematic, but everybody did, eventually they communicated.
Right. And the abutters were allowed to speak, so they did get sometimes yeah.
And at the end asked if anybody else had any more questions and left lots of time for people to try and do it. And nobody had any issues. Everybody did get their moment. So.
And we are open now,
Yeah.
so I think it's a different level of, people can come in person.
Some are still quarantined.
Right. So,
Particularly.
I, as you, Joe, would be happy to see that resolved. It makes it very tricky in a meeting. You got enough to think about without, people yelling at you because they can't hear you.
Exactly. Exactly. You don't need it.
I feel like I hear someone from the public. So is there anyone from the public that would like to speak? It says one up there, and I don't know if that's you.
That one's been up there since I got here.
I think that's
Yeah.
the town of Tilton.
I think that's us.
Okay.
one.
I just
Pretty
hear, I hear a noise and I don't know if it's us. So I just want to make sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Leanne.
Leanne.
All right, moving right along. Selectmen reports. Me, I'm first up. Since last week I brought up a fun issue, I thought I'd bring up another fun issue. I would like to explore the possibility, and I'm only one person, so I'll bring it up. If starting in June, for the summer, we go to an every other week schedule. And I thought I'd get the consensus of my fellow selectmen on that.
And I believe that's something you've done in the past. I actually had it on my to ask. So
We,
Sure, it's open for public.
we have done that in the past, and there have been times when we've done it and it's gotten the best of us, and we've ended up with 10 o'clock meetings because it's gotten us behind on a couple of things because there have been issues or events that have happened that we couldn't get away from. So I would be in favor of every other, but if something came up, we would jump in on that one meeting just so that we wouldn't get behind on something.
And I don't know if June is possible. I just thought I'd throw out there for a 3-month cycle. You see, because I know once we get into fall, we get into budget things and things like that, and things get a little bit more intense. But I'm just throwing it out there and see what sticks and what doesn't. And
Yeah,
but at
we've
least we
tried it in
could,
the past.
at least if we plan for it now, we're not like going, oh wait, we got this and this. We can, when we say we want something on the agenda for the following week, it might be 2 weeks out or something like that. So that was just my thinking, and I just looking to see what my fellow select board thinks. Joe?
Seems like we've had some packed meetings over the last few months. And I'm just wondering how every other is, for some reason, our agenda lightening up. Or that's because I don't like being here till 10 o'clock at night.
I have no idea if it's lightening up or not, but I thought if we could plan for it, we could lighten our load a little bit and maybe spread out the load.
It didn't work out in the past.
Well, John?
I'd like to do that, but there's so many things that are more urgent that all of a sudden they come up and we have to do it,
Yeah.
without putting out a week. I think it would be nice to go and plan on every week, but pick some weeks that we, around holiday times or something like that, so that, we can do it.
Okay.
Skip a week here and there.
All right, we can take a look at that.
We usually take one off in August.
In
Yeah.
like July.
Well, I was thinking like the week of July 4th, because July 5th is the Monday, and then that's the observed holiday, and then the 6th, the 7th would be the meeting. So maybe that week we could skip and some other, see how it goes.
Yeah, I think between you and Jeannie looking at the agenda and what's coming up, you can foresee what we need and what we don't need, and we can kind of gauge it from there and just let us know. And if we can skip a meeting, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to mention, I do believe we have a caller on. I just looked at the screen, but it doesn't identify who it is. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, that's why before I was like, is there anyone? Sometimes it's Adam. I don't know, that's him. I know sometimes in the past he's listened.
But
So.
he's not on tonight. Derek.
Yeah, but even so, on other days he's gone there. Anyways, so that's all I had. So I guess we'll work on that, Jeannie, and see how that goes. All right, next, John Scanlon.
Yeah, so not a lot going on. I did get some questions, people about ditching and stuff like that, and I said it is ongoing, and it's been Grant Street looks good. They did a good job over there getting that kind of straightened out. And then I got somebody asked about potholes, and Kevin has that planned. I believe it's this week. He's digging out and doing the potholes. But that's about it. Things look good. The flags and towns turning a little green. That's it for me.
All right. Thanks, John. Next on the rotation, Pat Constantino.
The only one was from last week, and that was to bring up the subject of the Chromebooks, but Tim's not here. I did talk with him this week about it. Our Chromebooks are around, well, some of them don't even use any of your Chromebooks anymore, right?
Now my Chromebook is so slow.
It's wicked slow.
My phone is faster.
It is. My Chromebook is at least 6 or some odd years old, and so he has a way that he could use some rewards and get, but he couldn't get 5 with it. But we didn't know how many really needed them, and I thought we could bring it up, but let's push it to next week when Tim's here and we could talk more about it, because my Chromebook is absolutely, and I have the high speed at home, and trust me, it's my dogs can bark faster than it.
Yeah. I don't use the Chromebook. I use my Mac. So
I just can't. It's really terrible. And I was at the senior center at the executive meeting using it, trying to pull up the financials last month, and it really brought to light how we're just waiting and waiting, and then the pictures come up. It's very difficult to use it. So, and Jeannie, you talked to the state about the overflow onto the state roads with the businesses, and I guess that's it for me right now.
all right. Moving right along, Scott Ruggles.
Just one thought that I had for this week was in looking at the concern that came from the police department in terms of the scams when they were talking about that and talking about developing a program to help maybe some of our older citizens understand the phone scams and things like that. Just thinking outside the box a little bit, I was wondering if they might consider putting together a program or even a video that they might be able to play at the senior center that they would just be able to have to be able to inform people. So just trying to think about being able to have it so that there's coverage, so that whether it's that or a pamphlet or both, just thinking about being able to have that so that we can continue to inform and keep folks abreast in terms of those issues.
The chief usually has kept up to date. Chief Cormier was very up to date on trying to help with the scammers and programs, and met with the seniors. Usually every other month would have some type of a presentation with the seniors up there. Right now, there's no seniors up there for the dinners. But now that we don't have Chief Cormier, it'd probably be somebody maybe like Abe or somebody, or Sergeant Penault.
We'll have a new chief
When they come, but it's a great idea. But for now, Community Action is the one that's not having their dinners.
Sure.
We're open,
Yeah.
but they're not, and that would be an excellent program for them to do that.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, even ongoing, if they could put together just even if it's a short video, that if you have it, I should probably drop in sometime, but if there's a TV that you can play every once in a while, so that they have it, so that it's something that is just there and able to be informative, because I know it's an issue, and very honestly, I had to deal with it with my parents at one point in time, because my mom will get sucked in, my dad doesn't. But,
right. Also, down to New Franklin Apartments too. The police used to go down there, and once in a great while. I don't know if that's continued, but that is a great program.
Yeah.
That- I hope they're going to keep it up.
Yeah.
We need to talk about those scams.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Scott. Whoever is caller 2, could you please mute your microphone? Because you're hitting your microphone. Thank you. Oh, why did you have to leave? Caller 2, come back. We just wanted you to mute your microphone, that's all. All right. Well, look at that. Next, Joe Jessman.
Okay, we had amnesty at the transfer station last week. I went down on Saturday. Turns out my dump sticker was out of date. And I lucked out because John, who was at the gate checking stickers and whatever, only had 30. And he was checking driver's license, addresses, that kind of stuff. Some of the people I think he knew for a fact lived in Tilton, but yeah, he wasn't writing down registration numbers. And apparently, because I asked him about it, and he said he didn't know anything about that. Nobody had mentioned it to him. So whatever, he had 30, and when he gave them all out, that was the end of that. I don't know. I didn't go back to see how that played out, but they were collecting lots of stuff for sure. On the 10th of May, there's another NRRA. That's the yearly meeting, and Kevin and I will be attending that virtually. Give you a report on that when it comes. And I talked with Titus, and I have a really rock solid maybe. Things are happening in Florida, and he's got lots of things going on, and he doesn't know when he can get up here. And I didn't get a firm, solid, this is, written in stone, but I think that there's a concert thing on our horizon. That's the end of my report.
The island concerts.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Since there's nobody from the public online, I will not seek public, anyone from the public, just in case they're hiding. Nope. All right, because it still says 1 up there, so that's why. Yeah, but it said 1 when caller 2 was on there. So, all right.
Just the town of Tilton.
I don't know what's going on. Anyways, moving right along, town administrators report.
Thank you. So you got my report. I only, the majority of it, except for one, is all just FYI. If you have any questions on that, the action item that I did want to revisit, I brought that in front of you last week. The Lakes Region Chamber of Commerce is asking for feedback from the board. They want to do the food truck festival. 15 trucks would include alcohol. They're proposing August and October on a Saturday, 11:30 to 4:30, and it would be in the area around Old Navy. So I don't know if the board has any thoughts on this.
I do.
Go ahead, Pat.
We have done this in the past. We've approved it in the past. I have absolutely no problem with it. Would like to make a motion to move forward with it, with the understanding that they check with the police and fire, whatever they need, and meet their criteria, because my understanding is that when we approved it the last time, they needed to meet with the chief to follow the guidelines along with Tim Joubert. So I'll make that motion to approve the proposed food truck festival August and October from 11:30 to 4:30 on a Saturday in the area of Old Navy, the Tanger outlets. As long as they check with the chief of police and
Fire
fire designee, fire department.
department.
I'll second that.
I'll second that. There's a motion, a second discussion. Mr. Jessman,
I'm assuming that all of these trucks will be getting a hawker's and peddler's license.
what did we do last year? I think we did a blanket one last year.
It was the same as the craft show that we did. It was one,
Right.
it was one item that they all paid into. Didn't do a hawkers and peddlers for that because it was a show.
Right.
An event. Individuals, it was a festival.
Okay.
Not like
And,
Chick-fil-A
and
every week.
I believe it was, that it was pulled by Lakes Region Chamber of Commerce because they were the organizer.
As such, that way.
So do we, Jeannie?
I just have a question because I didn't hear it in your motion and it was something she asked about. So I just want to be clear. She said that that would be approximately 15 trucks and would include alcohol. So you're all set with that. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Any other discussion?
They would need to go to the police and the fire, and they're gonna need to explain to them that it's gonna be 15 trucks and would include alcohol. So
Yeah.
they have, based on that, there's gonna be ingress and egress
Sure.
discussed on that, and that's what
That'll
that's
be
gonna be.
the alcohol will be stricter than anything we can do.
That's a state thing.
Yeah, it kind of would have to because people get to the Tanger outlet in the car and then they're selling them alcohol on the site and then they're driving away. And I know that all the restaurants and what have you are like that, but there's extensive education in the restaurant business about serving and over serving and liability. And do these trucks have insurance?
They all have to have insurance.
I think they have to have special licenses and they'll have to have special fencing, special seating areas for the.
Tingle won't allow them on the property without their, I think it's $1 million liability. I could be wrong on the number. It's either 1 million or $2 million liability. We ran the farmers markets, that's what it was.
I've always been uncomfortable with this. Because, I mean, we charge Chick-fil-A, we charge the smoothie guy down on the other end of the way. Everybody gets charged. I have this conversation every time this comes up. And I'm just, I'm good. I'm good. I've said what I needed to say.
All right,
I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
Don did.
Scanlon.
Don
Okay.
Scanlon. So there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hi.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one other question. I heard Joe talk about the island concert as a strong maybe. Is that something that we, if this, just because I'm new to Tilton, so I mean, I don't know what it's been in the past. I mean, new, I've been here 2.5 years, but for this issue, if that falls through, is this something the town wants to try to arrange or orchestrate, or is it just, it wouldn't happen?
As much as Mr. Chair,
Sure.
as much as I would love to coordinate the concerts in the park, I don't have the contacts. I'm not keyed into the bands. I don't have any kind of just casual, hey, how you doing? That was great. Allison and Titus were totally wrapped up in producing those concerts. And it was spendy, and it cost them money out of their own pocket, in addition to what town of Tilton and the town of Northfield in the past have given. They contributed as much as either town.
Okay.
Never mind the time and
And of course, Northfield won't be contributing anymore.
I don't believe they were going to contribute to the island concerts. I could be wrong, though. I don't know that for an absolute fact. But as far as us producing them, I don't see how.
Not to the caliber that of the music that was brought into them. When we could wrangle up a band or two that were there, but the level of production and music that was brought to the band, that brought to the island, was superb.
Indeed, if it didn't happen and we could have one Labor Day or something, and all of us pull together, we could probably produce
Well,
one.
Yeah, I don't,
Hey,
is it
Yep.
it just as easy as calling like Annie and the orphans and saying, will you?
and there are some phone calls that can be made,
Okay.
but we have to. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things that go
It
into
was just a
Some
question.
of
I
them, yeah.
just,
Some
I
of
just,
them you could do,
yeah.
yeah.
I just
Probably do
asked
that.
the question because I don't want to be behind the ball if the board says, oh, well, we want to try to.
But
Let's see what happens.
like Joe said, some of the funding was from Tilton.
I get that, yeah.
Franklin Savings Bank, Meredith,
Right.
a lot of them were sponsored by that. And some local residents were sponsoring them too.
Salutelo, you
Right.
said, and Chuck and Kathy.
And Chuck
Mitchell.
and Kathy Mitchell.
Mr. Scanlon,
I
That was
believe
me.
we have some money that in the budget for it too
Yeah,
Mhm.
this year.
we
So-
sponsor it too, yeah.
I had a question that regarded to the budget, and I don't know, since there's no Old Home Day,
Mhm.
can the money that was designated for Old Home Day be designated for Island in the Park concert series?
Did we keep it in or did we take that out?
What?
The Old Home Day?
No, it's in.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
in, okay.
we didn't
but they-
cancel it until after
We
the,
were actually going to give the $3,000 for the fireworks and then Northfield
Okay.
said no, they weren't going to contribute to the fireworks.
Right,
So
unless they had an Old Home Day to go with it.
If there was someone willing to help, I would help as well to make phone calls, to do whatnot.
Okay, well, let me see what happens with Titus, because he
Okay.
wants to do this.
Yeah, but maybe he needs a little help. and
maybe you need
Yep.
support and help
Yep.
and we'll say
Yep.
we're
Mailing
behind
out
them.
a
I'll get
couple letters.
back in touch with him and
All right.
put out some feelers.
okay. All right, great.
It,
Beth.
it would be nice, the opening one, to do something in, whether it be a Senate resolution or something in honor of Allison, the first concert that opens, that we could do
We could do that.
something for, from the board, from the town.
Great idea.
And, get a couple senator, whatever, governors, whatever.
I think our senator plays the piano. Maybe you could get the keyboard up there and
Hey, you know.
give him, what they say, tickle the ivory or something.
Tickle the ivory. That's right.
Yeah. All right.
Jeannie, on your FYI.
Yep.
I'd just like to say out loud at our meeting, thank you to Sergeant Penalt and Sergeant Kikila on delivering the restaurant revitalization fund flyers to over 45 restaurants last Friday for us.
And I will tell you that we did get feedback from restaurants and they were appreciative of getting the information.
So
Good.
thank you very much for
Very good.
that.
All right.
Before we go into a non-public, I have one question for the
That would
board.
be under other business.
Okay. There was some chatter on Facebook, and I know I can't read very well right now, but people are very upset about not having Old Home Day going back and forth, and there are several people that would like to put together a parade. And being a selectman, I know that we can't have parades in our town without getting permission from state and local government. I didn't see anybody interjecting that into the feedback on the Facebook page where there's nearly 100 comments on it. Somebody needs to get back in touch with these people if they want to organize a parade, that they organize it in Tilton. They need to get in touch with state and local government, because it's really safety. It's more for safety than anything else. And I mean, I'm all for parades. I love parades, but we need to make sure that our roads are safe, that we have it cordoned off and made sure that police are available and things like that. And and most of our roads are state roads, so they have to be involved. And I don't know how to get back in touch with these people, because I'm not familiar with who they are.
I
So
was gonna do that tonight. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna mention it, and then I was gonna private message the person who started the conversation.
I don't want to ever squash good ideas.
Oh.
And I think that, people are, kind of upset. The other thing was, aren't the Parks Commissions doing fireworks this year? They have to use the fire.
There was a brief discussion of it, but they're launched in Northfield,
Mhm.
and they're viewed from Tilton.
Yep.
So it gets into that's about, and then there was discussion about possibly someone was going to try and contact J. Jill to see if their property could be used.
But they got a credit from last year because of the COVID.
They have a credit that expires, I believe, July 1st.
That expires, so they have to use it soon.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be nice if they coordinated something with,
Yeah.
and got the communities together and
Yep.
brought people together with that? Just saying.
When were the Parks Commission going to shoot off fireworks last year?
I think it was Christmas time.
Christmas parade.
Oh, the Christmas parade. Yep,
Christmas.
yep.
And they couldn't because
Yep.
of the COVID.
Yep.
So they got a credit and they have to be used before then.
Bring it up at the next meeting.
Okay.
Maybe if they do movies in the park or something too.
Well,
they
that's
could
the police are
coordinate
gonna
with
do that. Yeah.
They could coordinate it with the.
Probably,
So many things that we could do.
a movie that has fireworks, and all of a sudden the fireworks shoot off.
Well, there's
That'd
so
be-
many different things that
Yeah.
people are really wanting to get out there
People, they are.
and get together.
Yeah.
The communities, they really want to do that.
I agree 110%. There any other business to come before the board this evening? We're way ahead of schedule. All right. The time being 5:45 PM. I'd like to make a motion to move into non-public per RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has a right to a public meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. And RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C, matters which if discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy. if based on inability to pay or poverty of the applicant. We expect to be back into session at approximately 7:30 PM. Do I have a second?
Ruggles second.
Ruggles second. Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Ira, yes. And the recording must stop or pause or.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public meeting of April 28th, 2021, because the reasons justifying the need for the non-public session still remain. Jessamine, motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Ruggles, yes.
Scanlon, yes.
Pyra, yes. All right. The time being 7:19, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you and good night.
Everybody get the to be signs?